My name is Jacob Chu, and today we will be analyzing a painting created to document the findings of the Maori tribe on the island of what is now New Zealand. This is the painting, A Portrait of a Maori Chief. This painting is created by Sidney Parkinson, a man born in Edinburgh, Scotland in 1745. From a young age, he trained to be a draper, responsible for selling pieces of cloth and making clothing. Later in life, he realized his skill in art and chose to do draftsmanship, the job of recording and sketching items or buildings. In Parkinson's place, he would draw plants. His drawings became renowned, and he was hired for an expedition led by Captain Cook, a famous sailor and explorer across the Pacific and Atlantic, to record and draw newly discovered plants. Sidney went from Brazil to New Zealand, then Australia, and finally ended in Indonesia. He drew The Portrait of a Maori Chief in 1769 because on the island of New Zealand there was not much unique plant life, so he chose to document the local people instead. These people were known as the Maori tribe that reside in Aotearoa, New Zealand, who speak Te Reo. The painting does not utilize any newly discovered painting techniques or try to look appealing to the eye. Instead, Sidney Parkinson created portraits to record and accurately represent the new indigenous people he had encountered. Some aspects of the portrait stand out immediately when first looking at the painting. One part I saw immediately was the man's intricate face tattoos known as tamoko. These tattoos are said to originate from a legend of a love story between Mataora, a young warrior, and Nirwareka, the princess of the underworld. The princess came from the underworld to the surface to marry the beloved warrior. During their time together, Mataora mistreated the precious Nirwareka, who responded by returning to her home, the underworld. Distraught by this loss, he followed her down there to try and get her to return. He encountered many obstacles and hardships, but still fought his way through. When finally reaching the princess and her family, he was mocked and laughed at for his ragged appearance and smudged face paint, an early rendition of the tribal tattoos. Despite this mockery, the warrior apologized with everything within him, and eventually won Nirwareka's heart back. Before returning to the mortal world, Nirwareka's father taught Mataora how to utilize tamoko, or a new version of tattoos that were permanent. Mataora brought these skills back to his people, along with his wife. These tattoos eventually became a staple of the culture. These tattoos mostly focus on covering the head and face, as they are seen as the most sacred part of the body. All the tattoos have different meanings and symbolize different aspects of a person, from their ancestry and knowledge to social status. Due to this, no two people will have identical tattoos, as everyone comes from a different background. Different parts of the face represented different parts of people's lives. The center forehead, called the Nakai Pikaru, represented general rank. The temples, Uma, show marital status, as in how many times the man had been married. The cheeks, Daiho, demonstrated their line of work. Under the eyebrow, Nonga, designated his position, and the jaw, Taitorto, designated his birth status. There are two different parts to the tattoos. There are manua and the korus. The manua are the frame of the tattoos and translate to heart in Te Reo, demonstrating one's life journey from past experiences to hopeful futures. The korus define different characteristics of a person and come off the frame of the manua. The chief's manua, or frame, is nearly entirely shown to be of the Ahu Ahu Matura design, symbolizing prowess and achievement in sports and athleticism, along with tackling new challenges. This fits the chief persona, as the chief should be athletically gifted for combat and is tackling the largest challenge of governing a society of people. It is mainly shown where the Nakai Pikaru and Nonga should be, on the forehead and under the eyebrow, depicting both rank and position. Most of the korus depicted in the picture are simple but powerful. On the cheek and nose, some korus can be seen. To clarify, korus are the classification for the tattoos, representing characteristics, while koru is a specific tattoo within the category. The chief has a koru on his upper cheek and nose. The koru is supposed to resemble an unfurled fern leaf, as New Zealand is littered with some of the most pretty ferns in the world. It symbolizes new beginnings, growth, and harmony, most likely to represent the change in leadership within the tribe when he was elected. The last koru depicted in the photo is heimato, or a fish hook. Fish is very common among the tribe and a very traditional food. Ownership of a lot of fish showed prosperity and wealth. Having a fishhook represents strength, determination, and good health, as well as safety when traversing over water. These hooks can be seen under the jaw, where the daitoro should be, signifying this man comes from a wealthy background. Although the image may seem intricate and detailed, I personally believe when Sidney Parkinson drew this photo in the 1700s, that it ended up being not completely accurate of what a Maoran chief would look like. It was known he was constantly rushed and had to delay projects to finish other ones. That is why I feel like he did not fully complete this portrait, or he purposely included less detail to save on time. The tamoko or tattoo people possess are known for being extremely detailed and informative on one's status. This image, on the other hand, is very simple in comparison. All the lines seen among his face are completely straight. I could not find these lines anywhere in my research, which helps me come to the conclusion that this is an unfinished or purposely simple portrait made to demonstrate there were tattoos among the people without being too specific. Aside from the tamoko, the rest of the picture is very simple and easier to understand. The chief's hair is tied up into a top knot, which was seen as a high status haircut worn by the nobility. These top knots were known as tiki tiki, and when extended and not tied up, were referred to as makewa. Hairdressing was a social process that could potentially ruin the social integrity of a man. Hair could only be dressed by someone of higher rank, or else a person's tapu, or spiritual energy, could be tarnished. To hold the knot up, the man used a simple comb, most likely made from wood, but it's also Maoran tradition to be made from bone. Oil from berries were used to slick hair back, with shark level oil being a suitable replacement. Around the neck hangs a heitiki. A heitiki is an ornamental pendant made from a variety of greenstones, including jade, brownite, and serpentine. Green stones were thought to have magical property to bring strength, prosperity, and protection, while showing love, growth, and harmony. These necklaces are seen as a treasure and one's most prized possession in the Maoran culture. This is due to the fact that the figure on the necklace is always depicted to be legendary heroes and past ancestors, having the ability to gain their powers through the necklace. Along with the heitiki, a green stone pendant sits in his ear. This was to further aid the green stone's magical powers. Finally, in the top knot lies 3 feathers of a bird called gotuku, or a white heron. These feathers come from the bird's tremendously broad wings and were prized and worn exclusively by people of rank. That will be all for my lecture. Thank you for being a kind and courteous audience throughout this presentation.